So let's take a look at strategic prioritization. The best practices for this, of course, are a balanced scorecard. And the concept behind the balanced scorecard is pretty straightforward. And that is, we need to look at a broader perspective of organizations than just the financial view. And our research at Harvard identified for us that the best other perspectives, views of an organization are your customers, what do they want and how well are you meeting those needs, internal, what are your internal processes and how well are they performing, and enablers, what is the culture, competencies, and enabling structures you need to be successful. Now, we've learned over the years that there's a cause and effect relationship. You'll achieve financial success, you'll be able to charge your customers if you understand their needs and can make them happy. Once you understand your customers' needs, that will therefore inform you of what are the internal processes you need to be able to accomplish to meet those needs so that they'll pay you money. And underpinning that, therefore, is what is the competencies, culture, and enabling structures we need to build and maintain those processes to make your customers happy, to achieve financial success. So we should be able to take any strategy, describe it against this criteria almost as a flow diagram. So for this organization, the overall goal was to achieve sustainable profitability. Now for them to do it, there are really two core things they needed to do. One is drive up sales, and two is, of course, manage expenses. Now let's take a look at drive sales. In this organization, when they take a look at their customers, there's three things that their customers are expecting them to do. Thing one is to help build desires. Thing two is to deliver a really interesting shopping experience. And thing three is to have the right products available. So the theory is if we can meet those three customers' needs, we'll be able to drive sales. So how do we do that? Well, the core of their overall strategy is about the shopping experience. And to do that, we need to be able to provide great advice. We need to be able to deliver fresh and alluring displays. And finally, stock and display the right products. Now, if we can also stock and display the right products, that will support our needs to have the right products. And all these things lead up to driving sales. Now, to get these three things right, they discovered the core thing they need to do is understand their customers. If we understand our customers, we'll figure out what advice we need to be better skilled at and deliver. We'll understand what is the best way to display those products. And finally, what is the right stock and the right displays to have. Underpinning all of this are the strategic objectives of building a team service culture mentality. 2, providing the right technology supports, and 3, attracting and retaining the right employees. So this becomes a strategy map, and on the strategy map, the most important thing may be the arrows. This explains to us, for example, why we need to understand our customers. If we're doing activities around understanding our customers, it doesn't lead us to understand what advice to provide, what a great display looks like, or what the products are, then that's a waste of activity. Likewise, if our fresh alluring displays are not helping deliver the right shopping experience, then we need to stop it. So the objectives and the arrows begin describing an important story about what strategy and success looks like in this organization. The other component of this story, though, is the weighting. We need to be able to tell everyone in the organization what is the highest priority for us to focus on. So if you think of this being, say, 100% of your strategy for this year, we should be able to allocate the 100% across these objectives. In this example, we've put the highest priority weighting on these objectives. Provide great advice, fresh alluring display, and deliver the shopping experience. These constitute 55% of the weighting across these 3 objectives. It's pretty clear to everyone in the organization where our focus needs to be this year. Now, for this organization, last year we might have had a very high weighting on understand our customers. Now that we've achieved that objective, the weighting can move up the strategy map. And in fact, if this is successful, I'd expect the next year the weighting to be higher up here around some of the higher level customer and financial objectives. So the weighting communicates where we are overall in our strategy. Now, the weighting may change from region to region, or store to store, or class of store to class of store. But in many cases, the strategy map itself remains the same. Now, again, this has to do with your organization. A franchise store like McDonald's, all the weightings, all the objectives are always identical. In conglomerate stores like what we'd see at Johnson & Johnson, for example, we may have some objectives which are mandated, but the rest are contributory. And the weightings are defined by business unit. Regardless, the strategy map now communicates an important story about the strategy and priorities to the organization, and if you need to change it during the course of the year, you now have a formalized tool in which to do so. The next step is to add some performance metrics next to this. Let's pretend this is our first performance meeting and this is what our scorecard looked like. Which objective should we talk about first? In many cases, people are going to say understand our customers because the objective is red. But maybe our first conversation should be around provide great advice, because possibly a yellow at 20% is more important to us. So now we can put the data into strategic context and therefore all look at it and analyze it the same way. Now, in this particular situation, it's possible that the root of our problems is our customer understanding. It is red, and possibly the red performance there, because of this arrow, is contributing to our poor performance on provide great advice, and also our declining performance on fresh alluring displays, and flatlining on stocking the right products. So it may be, in fact, that understand our customers is the root. But the net is, across these 15 objectives, we know which two we need to talk about and can begin to work around theories and hypotheses about how we can make it better. Now, we have to make this available to the wider organization. And so these strategy maps and indicators, what we call a balanced scorecard, should be made available to the entire organization with the appropriate security associated with it, so everyone understands how we're performing and everyone can align their performance against those strategic objectives.